Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope you're doing well today. It's great to have you with us this Friday lunchtime. My name is Carl. I am one of the practical tutors here at TEFL.org. What does that mean? That means I train up people, maybe like yourself, who want to become TEFL teachers on some of our fantastic weekend courses that we do. I run them and do all the work for them in Belfast in Northern Ireland, where I live, although I'm originally from London way. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all okay. So thanks for joining us today about this webinar about teaching in Japan. It's something that I want to talk about a lot. It's something I love to talk about because I spent a fantastic probably 15 to 18 months, something like that, in Japan in my teaching life. So it is something that I really enjoy talking about. So if you are there and you are listening to us this Friday lunchtime UK time, please say hello in the chat. Let me know you're here. Let me know where you are in the world, and also tell me if you're looking to go to Japan or if you're looking to go somewhere else. Because although this webinar has the theme of Japan, I have been lucky enough to live in China, Vietnam. I'm thinking about East Asia way, Vietnam, China, Japan. I've traveled a lot around. I've been to, looking at the map above me, I've been to Mongolia up there. I've been to Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore. My wife worked in Taiwan for a bit, so I know a little bit about there. So any questions you have about maybe East Asia, please let me know, and I'll see if I can help you with that. Or any other questions about TEFL at all, I will hopefully be able to answer you. Why am I put here in front of you to hopefully try and answer them? Well, because I've been teaching for when did I graduate? 2018? No, I didn't graduate in 2018. I graduated in 2005. So about 15 years I've been teaching in various parts around the world. Currently I work as a teacher trainer. I work as an examiner of TEFL. I teach online. So any questions about teaching online, please put them in the chat. Anything at all, I'm here. I can see the hellos coming in. A long hello from Dean. Dean, hello to you as well. Great, you want to go to Japan. Richard, hello. Jenna, hello. Chris, hello. Linda, Chris, it says you want to go back to Japan soon. So Chris, if you've got any input, please put that into the chat as well. Millicent, or was that Simon? I don't know. Hello. You're in South Korea. Congratulations. Hello, Dee. Dennis, Moira, hello. Okay, so Zachary, hello. Brody, all the hellos are coming in. I can't keep up with you all now. Right, so let me tell you about my teaching career, okay, in Japan. So I have a degree. Now, the first thing that you're going to find when wanting to go to Japan is that you'll see lots of jobs that require you to have a degree. However, that's not the only way to teach, and I'm going to get onto the working holiday visa situation in a bit, but I have a degree and I went out to Japan with a TEFL qualification. So I did my degree, then did a 120-hour a TEFL qualification, and I went working for a company called Westgate. And you'll see Westgate still advertising. What they do is they get language teachers and they place you in universities, not always universities, but generally in universities. And that was my first job in Japan. So they picked me up. I did the application online. I think there was a little grammar test involved, I think, if I remember correctly. And then I started doing the visa process, which meant going to the embassy, applying for the visa, all this kind of thing. And then started applying. And then they sorted out everything for me, this company called Westgate. Now, what do I mean by sorting out everything for me? They booked my flights. They arranged my accommodation when I got there, and they arranged for someone to pick me up at the airport. They also arranged for me my bank account, my insurance, all this kind of thing. They were fantastic, Westgate, in looking after me as a teacher. And I'd only been at that time teaching for about 18 months. So I wasn't, a really experienced teacher of traveling around the world. And they really, really sorted me out. And you'll find that in Japan. One of the good reasons about going to Japan is that the companies tend to really help you out. Okay. By helping you out, I mean sorting out all of the admin that comes with moving to another country. I find that Japanese companies have been one of the best ones that I've had to deal with on that. And that's quite important in Japan because there's quite a lot of paperwork to go through. Like opening bank accounts is difficult. Finding accommodation can be really difficult in Japan. So this is something that it's worth looking into. Okay. Thinking about that. Japan is if you are thinking of traveling the world, Japan is a great country for helping sort that kind of thing out. However, that's not to say other countries don't do that. If you get a good employer in China, they will also do the same. My employer that I had in Vietnam was also good at that. But I do find that Japanese companies, on the whole, from my experience and all the other people's experience, tend to be fantastic at that. And I flew to Tokyo and I did a term working in a local university teaching. So the students were tended to be on any different subject major and they would all come together in one class and I would then teach them English. And that was my first job in Japan. And they sorted out my accommodation, as I said. So I had a small 1-bedroom apartment. It was very small, actually, 1-bedroom apartment. And I live with other teachers. That's another thing they tend to do in Japan. They tend, if they're sorting out your accommodation, to keep you together with the other teachers, which is good. Okay. Now, before I then carry on a little bit, I think I can see the questions coming in already. We've got Alan monitoring the chat. Say hello to Alan if you can. And he's going to help me. So I think that there's a first question from Natalie Richards. I think, is that Alan? I don't know if we can get that one up. I've read that foreigners have a difficult time securing housing in Japan. What was your experience like from apartment hunting to move in? That's a really good question, Natalie. Right. So when I first arrived, I was working for one company and they did sort out my accommodation myself. Okay. So they sorted it out for me. So literally, I didn't really have much to do then. Okay. They picked me up. They took me there. They'd already sorted out the lease. They paid for it, all that kind of thing. So I got my wage. And then on top of that, they paid for the accommodation. Okay. When I finished that term, I decided to stay in Japan. But Westgate, the company I worked for, they like you to, at the end of your term, fly back to your home country. So I started in September, got to, I think the second week of January when the term ended. Westgate wanted me to fly from Japan back to London. Okay, that's what Westgate want generally, not always, there are exceptions. They want their staff members to do. So I didn't want to do that. So what did I do? I had to find work for myself in Japan, basically. So this is another option. Once you've got yourself a work visa with a company and you have, you've started working for them, you might find that after a few months, or you might be a little bit unhappy, maybe, or you feel like you want to strike out by yourself, which is how I felt I could do it. So I managed to end of that contract. I said to Westgate, okay, thank you very much. I'm not going to fly home now, though. I'm going to carry on living in Japan. They weren't overly happy about it, but there's nothing they could do about it. And then I stayed in Japan working as a freelance teacher for lots of different companies on hourly paid contracts. And when I get to the money in a bit, I'll talk a little bit about that, about how that could be beneficial for you to do that. Then I had to find my own accommodation. And you are correct, Natalie, it is difficult to secure housing in Japan, especially, I think, in Tokyo. Probably less outside Tokyo, but especially in Tokyo. Why is it difficult? They expect you to have a lot of money up front. So they kind of might want 3 months deposit for the housing, for example. They might want then another month's deposit for to give to like the agency or something like that. Sometimes they expect a thank you gift of 1 month's deposit to be paid to the owners of that flat. So you might, for a 12-month contract, end up spending about 16 months worth. You should get the 3-month deposit back unless you wreck the place. You might end up having to spend quite a lot of money up front, and that is why it's difficult. And there is a slight stigma still about renting to foreigners. Okay, I don't really want to go into that, but there is still a stigma about that. But Natalie, there are agencies in Tokyo that really do work for expat teachers that live there, and they will help you find accommodation on monthly rolling contracts or 3-month contracts and all that kind of thing to help you out. So yes, it can be difficult, but don't let that be a reason to stop you. They will really help you out. I lived in 2 or 3 different places in Tokyo through one of these companies, which I'm completely forgotten what they were called. Maybe they were called Leo Palace. I can't remember. In accommodation, I went to their office in central Tokyo. They met me for viewings, all that kind of like an estate agency, and they rented out with a lot less deposit and without that free gift to say thank you very much for letting me stay in your house. Here, have £2,000. You know, that kind of really annoyed me. I didn't want to pay that. There's lots of agencies that help you do that. Okay, Natalie, I hope that helps you out. Okay. Let's talk about Ogini's question there, Alan, because I think that I think covers sort of the native speaker, the non-native speaker. Okay, so Ogini, hello. You want to get a job as an ALT, assistant language teacher in Asian countries, a non-English speaker, right? What are the chances? Okay, you will find jobs advertised in Japan for native speakers. Okay, you'll see jobs saying, please only apply if you're a native speaker. Now, Nigerian English it could be a type of native speaking. Okay, I don't know. It depends on how your recruiter thinks about that. Okay, but don't let that stop you if you do see a job you want. I would apply with your certificates. I would apply with your level of qualification. I will apply with any English language test results you have, because that might get you work. Okay. What is a native speaker? I don't know. Is it someone that is born in the UK? Are they a better speaker than someone that's passed an English test? I don't know. Different recruiters have different ways of thinking about that. So I have worked in Japan with non-native speakers, teachers, okay, and they found work. Ogini here, he doesn't want to waste his precious time, which is the last couple of words here. I'm really bad at pointing on the screen like this. Waste my precious time. Okay, well, Ogini, I'm sorry, but you know, in life, you have to put a bit of effort in to get through these applications. So don't make that think what you want to go through. Okay, don't you know, you've got to go through it. You've got to try it. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay, thank you, Ogini. Adam, hello. Wow, a really long question. Let me just, okay. No, okay, Adam Whippich, I think is how you pronounce that. I'm not quite sure. What is the best way to look for English language teaching jobs in Japan? Right, I'm going to stop straight there. The best way is to look on websites. So we have a TEFL blog post about finding work in Japan. There are jobs that are advertised on TEFL.org for jobs in Japan. Look on there. Look on websites such as eslcafe.com. I think there's a website called Jobs in Japan. I'm sure Alan will put the link up to the Teaching in Japan section. Right. So that is what the best way. You know, there are lots and lots of companies in Japan. Okay. And he talks here about JET. He's asking about JET. JET is not an option, sadly. Okay, right. So the JET program, what is the JET program? The JET program is run by the Japanese Education Board, Japanese government, and you apply to them, and then they put you into a school somewhere in that fantastic, amazing country. Now, what are the benefits of doing the JET program? Very good in terms of sorting you out for all your accommodation. Pay's not bad. It's, you know, it's a really easy way of getting into schooling. It's a really easy, nice way of understanding Japanese culture because you're going to work in the local schools, all that kind of thing. What are the downsides of that? One of the downsides is you don't have as much choice about where you want to live in Japan. So if you've got your heart set on working in Tokyo for 6 months, jet might not be the way to go forward because everybody and their dog wants to go and work in Tokyo. If you're a bit more open to working in some of the rural parts or some of the smaller cities, Kyoto still has a good few million people, then that would give you some options. Okay. Yes. So as he says there, Polish embassy doesn't offer them. I know that's sad, but there are definitely ways around that. Okay. Okay. Hope that helps you out. And then he's got a second question. How well can I do for myself financially as a teacher there? Is it difficult, for example, to own a small car on your salary? Okay. Right. So financially, Japan is expensive in terms of rent. Going to pubs can be a little bit expensive. You can find cheaper pubs and stuff like that, but it can be quite an expensive place to live. However, rent is quite high. Now, I've managed to live in countries that are seen as quite poor. So, for example, I lived in Sri Lanka, and where, it doesn't cost as much to live, wages were lower. I managed to save more myself in Japan than I did in Sri Lanka, because even though prices are higher, your rate of pay coming in is a lot more. So you definitely do earn a bit more cash. Okay. If you then set yourself up as a freelance teacher after you've gone and worked for someone, you can't fly to Japan and just set yourself up as a freelance teacher straight away. As far as I know, I don't know anyone's done that. Everybody I know has gone in on a working visa from a company, and then once that contract has run out or you've been there a few months, then set yourself up as a working visa. That's where you can make a bit more money as a self-employed person, okay? Because you can get more hours in and all that kind of thing. You can charge what you want. Okay, good. Catherine, is it easy to get a working visa in Japan? Okay, so Catherine, right. First of all, when you apply to these jobs, if you're successful at getting the jobs, so say, I don't know where you are, Catherine, but let's say you're in London. You've applied for a job for a company and you're in London. They know you're in London. They will hopefully pay for your flights. They will hopefully pay for all the visa stuff. They will sort out all the visas. Okay. Now, that's what I'm hoping. Yes, it is easy. Right. The working holiday visa, if that's the route that you want to go down, which can be something that can help people without degrees to get work out there. Yes, again, I think is quite easy. You have to fill in the form. You have to be able to prove that you've got a little bit of cash behind you, which is the same for most working visas around the world. You have to fill in the form. You have to send in your CV. You have to apply for it a bit like a job. You go for it like that. Okay. Once you're in Japan and then you get the working. So say you go on a normal visa, like a holiday visa, a tourist visa, and then get a job, a working visa in Japan, I think that's a little bit more difficult. I personally would not like to go down that route of flying to Japan and then trying to find work. You'd need a bit of cash behind you because it might take you a while to get some work. That's what I would say to you, Catherine. Okay. I would definitely go down the working holiday visa route if that's the kind of thing you want to go down. Okay, good. Now I can't keep up with these questions. This is fantastic. Patrick, hello. You're a 33-year-old German citizen with a 120-hour TEFL and a bachelor's degree in communication with no teaching experience. What are my possibilities to get a job in Japan as an English teacher? I know plenty of people, Patrick, that have moved to Japan with no experience and with similar qualifications like you have. Okay, so I think there's lots of different companies, lots of different places to apply. Think outside of Tokyo. If and I'm saying this to everyone, not necessarily to Patrick, if you're worried about getting to work, don't necessarily apply to Tokyo. Everybody wants to work in Tokyo, but there's probably a little bit more opportunities outside of Tokyo. Tokyo is more expensive. Tokyo can be really tough on things like commute. I remember one of the jobs I had a 2-hour commute in the morning. So had to be there at 8:15. I was leaving my house at 6:15. Everybody in Japan kind of thinks that in Tokyo thinks that's normal. Okay. Didn't get home till quite late as well. So think outside Tokyo. There are benefits of being outside Tokyo. Patrick, try and get yourself some experience. Look at around if you're in Germany, for example, I know there's lots of refugees. I was reading a fantastic story about that this morning in Germany, and I'm sure there are companies that are offering English class, even though in Japan, even though you're in Germany, I'm sure there are classes being offered English to these people. See if you can get some experience in that before you go, if that's something you worry about. But I think you'll be able to get work. Okay, good. Am I keeping up with everyone? I hope so. I think those ones are, oh, hello. Okay, Dee. So great. She named herself twice. Hello, Dee. I'm planning on going to Japan, but the virus situation stopped everything. How long should I wait? Ooh, I'm not a chief medical officer, Dee. Right. I think this is a very personal question, you know, and I can only go by what I myself would do. If you've applied and if you have a job, and there are people advertising in Japan at the moment, I would personally feel just as safe in Japan as I do currently in the UK. Japan has a fantastic healthcare system. It also has a fantastic health insurance system, which that's another thing to look out for when you're applying health insurance. They should pay for your health insurance, but check if they don't. So D, I would probably go for it. Now I have a wife, kids, dog, mortgage. I'm not in a position to go to Japan so much, but if I was in my younger days, I personally would go for it and I wouldn't worry too much. How long can you let this virus stop your life for? But D, I'm not you, and that is just my piece of advice. That is not the official advice of TEFL.org. That is Carl Cameron Day's advice here in Northern Ireland. Okay, don't know if that answers your question, D. I can't tell you whether to go for it though or not. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Let's keep seeing the hellos. Nastya, hello. Just finished. Have I missed the question? No, I don't think so. Nastya Hodina, I love that name. Hello, just finished my TEFL course, and I'm really excited to start teaching English. Where can we start when we have no experience in teaching yet? Okay, so right, Nastya, you might want to start online. Okay, if that's something that you're thinking about wherever you are in the world. Can you find some jobs online if you don't want to move too far? If you're looking to go abroad, if you look also national, wherever you are in the world, you're probably not far from an English language school. Could you get some experience locally? Could you help any way with some volunteers, something like that? Okay. You know, all this kind of thing. Okay. So local area is somewhere where you can get experience. But there are plenty of jobs I see advertised abroad, including Japan, where they don't expect you to have any experience. Okay, so just get out there. Okay, good. Adam, hello in your psychiatric hospital. I'm not going to ask. Steve, hello. Steve Hill. Hi, I'm a bit older, 46. I'm almost there with you, Steve. I'm almost there with you. But really want to work in Japan. Is it harder for the old? Now, there are cutoffs in Japan. I think that at the age of 60, you have to stop. Not 16, that would be crazy. 60, you have to stop working. So you've still got a good bit of time left there. I would think you'll be okay. 40s, yeah, I've worked with plenty of people in their 40s in Japan. I don't think is it harder? No, I don't think so. I think quite often recruiters like someone with a little bit more experience because maybe in their mind, I don't know about you, Steve, in their mind that you're not going to go out partying until 5 a.m. in Shinjuku or Roppongi or all of these amazing bar areas of Tokyo. Okay, so maybe they quite like a more experienced person. Okay, good. Hello, Patrick. As a German citizen, look, we've got lots of Germans in today. I love it. Is it possible to work in Japan as an English teacher? Yes, it is. Oh, Patrick, you came up before. Yes, it is. There's definitely work out there for non-native speakers. Again, you might need to have to prove your English, but if you can prove on your CV that you have work, you have qualifications in English, that you have taught a little bit of English, blah blah blah, go down that. The other thing you might want to think about, Patrick, is going abroad and working as a German teacher. There is a call for that out there. Google it, you might find something. Okay. Hello, Deanie. You have any tips on the SOP? Am I being dumb here? What's the SOP? SOP. Alan, can you help me with the SOP? I've got no idea what the SOP means. My mind is something. My mind has just gone blank. Let me just scroll down a bit. Is there anything about the SOP? No. I'm so behind with the questions. I'm trying my best to keep up. Right. Tips for doing the JET program. What I would say for tips for doing the JET program is, make sure all your paperwork, you do exactly what they say. Japan loves people that can keep to scripts and can do exactly what's being followed, that kind of thing. All right. JET program, boost how much you love Japan and how much Japan culture has sort of had an influence on them. They love to think of you as having lots of culture. Okay. Enjoying the Japanese culture. So, just try and get yourself going in that, and then think about how Japanese culture might affect you. Try and get that into the application a bit. Japan loves people to love their culture, all that kind of thing. Okay, so see if you can get a bit of that into your application. I'm sorry, I don't know what SOP is. If anybody else knows, please let me know. Okay, where are we at now? Good. Okay, that all seems no questions. Oh, there's a question. Sophie, hello. My partner and I both have degrees and TEFL qualifications. We're hoping to live and teach in East Asia, so the JET schemes, etc., aren't an option. As it what because you don't want, is it not an option because you don't want to live in Japan? I'm a bit confused why. If you want to live in, so you want to live in like China or other parts of East Asia like Korea or Vietnam, is that what you're thinking? I don't know, Sophie. What's the best way to get jobs? Right, I have a wife in TEFL. We've always managed to find jobs together. Very often recruiters love couples. Again, for what I spoke to before, whereas maybe they see couples as a safer bet than hiring a 20-something bloke to arrive in East Asia. Okay, so couples are actually, it can actually help your application a bit. Okay, it's definitely not a hindrance to teach as a couple. Okay, best way to both get jobs is to look. If you just see a job application and it's only got one job listed, they might have though 5 or 6 jobs actually listed. Okay, so I think that if you are looking, if you see a job that you fancy, both of you put in an application and say you're a couple. I think it would help you. I think it would benefit you. Okay, just I don't think there's any different way of doing it. Just show them that you're a couple, and I think it will definitely help you. Okay, good. Fine, good. I hope that helps you. Moira, hello. Moira Dyer. My background is in PR and communications. Completed your 168 hours TEFL plus the business English module. How easy is it to teach business English? That's an interesting one. Okay. Moira, I would say, I love your arty profile picture. I would say that it would be very easy for you to teach business English. I think you would be a perfect person to teach business English. So after I worked at the university contract in Japan, I then set myself up as a freelancer, and I talked to companies. I went and worked for a range of different companies within Tokyo. There's a lot of business English in Japan. Okay, it's one of the big things. That university teaching is the biggest, kids is probably the second, and then I would put probably business English, maybe academic. No, university teaching is academic English generally. I would put business English probably as number 3. So you would be an ideal candidate to get involved, and that is similar to a lot of East Asia, China as well. They love that. How easy is it to teach business English? Physically, it's quite easy. There's lots of textbooks out there for teaching business English. There's lots of information about teaching business English. You can also earn a bit more cash, okay, from teaching business English. So I would go for it, Moira. They will big up your CV. They will love your CV and that kind of thing. Okay, good. Megan, hello. Is knowing Japanese viewed as a positive by the language schools in Japan? That's a really good one, Megan. Right. Okay, learning, you will see jobs where they will want you to have a working knowledge of Japanese to a certain level, I don't know, intermediate level or something like that. And that, some schools do want that. Universities, if you're going to go down the route of living in Japan for the rest of your life, Japanese universities expect you to have a very good level of Japanese. Okay. However, when I taught in the 5 or 6 different schools that I taught at and different agencies and that kind of thing in Japan, my Japanese was horrendous. You know, I could get by in a bar, and that's about it, really. You know, my writing and my reading was horrendous. So some companies will see it as positive, but it's definitely not a prerequisite to get there. Some schools don't like people that speak Japanese. Why? Because they have got you there to speak English and to teach them English, and you can teach English without having to speak another language. So if they're a bit worried that if they put someone in who has fluent Japanese, is that person, whenever they get that teacher, whenever they get stuck in a classroom, just going to burst into Japanese to get them out of their sticky situation that they might be getting into? So I would say it's not a hindrance. I would say it's not that you're not, you know, it's not a good, it's not a benefit, it's not a drawback. I just think some jobs you will see that have it. Okay, good. Good. Kieran is backing up what I said about specialist housing for foreigners. So yeah, I really don't think of it as a problem, the specialist housing for foreigners. Okay, good question here. Millicent, Simon again, sorry. Is it easy to get visa documents if you're not in your own country? I'm from the UK, currently teaching in South Korea, but was looking to move to Japan afterwards. Oh, I don't know about that one. So let me think about this. So I was living in Vietnam and I was teaching in Vietnam, and then I moved. Did I move directly from Vietnam to Japan? No, I didn't. I came back to London. I'm trying to think of a time. Right. The only example I've had is I was living in Japan, and when I finished in Japan, I flew straight to Sri Lanka. So I managed to be able to get a working visa in Sri Lanka from Japan. I didn't have to fly back to London from that. I'm filling here because I'm not sure. Okay, listen, I think you need to work that out yourself. I think you probably can, but I don't want to say for sure. Okay, but I think surely people move from South Korea to Japan, but I think quite often you do need to go back to your own country. So I don't know. You might have to go back to your own country. I'm sorry. Okay, Ian, hello. Really want to work as an assistant language teacher, but I know JET is very competitive. Right, okay. There is a feeling out there that JET is competitive, but everyone I ever know that's applied for it has got on it. I don't know many people that have been rejected for it, okay, who've done the, you know, if you're doing the paperwork, all that kind of thing. Again, it does depend on where you want to live. If you want to live in one of the big cities, then yes, it is quite competitive. But if you're happy to move outside, go to some of the more rural areas, then I think it's slightly less competitive. That's what I would say. Alternatives to JET, I don't think there are alternatives to. There is a Korean system which is similar, but in Japan, I don't think there is a similar system to JET. What there are recruiters who will take you and place you somewhere. So you just apply for a job for a recruitment agency. Okay, there we go. All right. Linda Annalicia Calfee, hello. Where would you look to teach English online? Do you believe a living wage could be made with online teaching? Thank you. Well, look at all the glamorous photos today. I'm not so sure I can compete with this at all. Right. Where do you look? Right, there's plenty. Right. We have done webinars like this for teaching online galore over the last few weeks. So go back and look at them on this Facebook page. Okay, you'll see ones where I talk a lot about teaching online because I teach online myself. Where would I look to teaching online? The first thing I would look for is a recruiter. So there's people advertising on our website, TEFL.org, that want people to teach online. There's also plenty of jobs listed on various websites for teaching online. So that's what I would go along. Do I believe a living wage could be made with online teaching? I have at times in my life made a living wage out of online teaching. Depends on your lifestyle, Linda. Are you someone that spends a lot of money, or are you someone that lives quite within their means? Okay, I think that's how long is a piece of string type of thing. You can see the rates of pay before you apply. If you're happy with that, then go for it. Okay. Holly, hello. What was your degree in before you got your TEFL qualification? And would you say it is beneficial to speak the language of the country you are planning to work in? For example, Japanese, right? My degree is in English linguistics. So I studied a lot about how the brain processes. Well, so it wasn't English linguistics, it was linguistics in general, how the brain processes language, second language acquisition, first language acquisition, English grammar, lots of things like that, pronunciation, listening, speaking, studied a lot. That was my 3-year degree. However, that's quite a specialized degree for TEFL. I also have a master's, all this Celta Delta, blah, blah, blah. But I would say any degree tends to work. Okay, it's not necessary. If you're thinking of trying to get a degree to go be a TEFL teacher, I'm not so sure you should choose a specialized TEFL degree. I would choose something that you enjoy and might give you something else to do, another route out of TEFL in case you hate TEFL. If you are thinking of going abroad to teach and you don't have a degree, I would not suggest going to get a degree just to go abroad and teach. I would look along the route of teaching without a degree, get yourself some work, go abroad, and then if you like it, probably long term you're going to need a degree. But it's a big commitment to go and get a degree to go and teach. All right. Is it beneficial to speak the language of the country? I am a typical English person in that my language skills are horrendous, Holly. I've lived in, where have I lived in? Azerbaijan, Sri Lanka, Japan, China, Vietnam, Kazakhstan, Iraq. I've lived in South Africa, speak English, work a lot. Now I work a lot in Italy and Spain. I don't have a high level of English, a high level of language ability in any of those. Is it beneficial in Japan? Yes, it will make you travel around easier, all that kind of thing. But I would personally, I don't think it's a prerequisite to go and do it. That's my word of the day, prerequisite. Okay, good. Hope that's helped you. Love these questions. I'm going to keep going until I'm going to stop talking about my life in Japan and just keep going with these questions because they're coming in like anything. Hello, Shrita. Is Japan open to non-natives? Yes, it is. I've spoken a bit about that before. Options to teach online for non-natives. I see plenty of jobs where they don't need to have a native English speaking thing to get the job. Okay, there's plenty of jobs online. Keep looking and see if you can find one. I'm sure there are some options. Another option is to set yourself up yourself if that is something that worries you, Shrita. Okay. Hello, Katie. Hi from England. Is it easy to get jobs as a couple in nearby schools? Are you talking about jobs in England? Oh, do you mean, wait, I think I've got you as, right. So for example, you want to work in a school there and another person wants to work in a school, your husband or whatever wants to work a kilometer away from you. Yes, it is. Or in the same schools. It's definitely something that people like. Very often recruiters and schools, language schools aren't advertising for one job. If you see an advert, there's probably 10, 20, sometimes 50, perhaps even 120 jobs on that one application. You apply as a couple, I'm sure they'll be able to help you. Okay. Might also reduce your accommodation costs, all that kind of thing. I hope that works. Chris, hello. You spent your 20s in the forces, so don't have a degree, but have other qualifications. How much harder would it be to find work? I don't think the fact that you're in the forces doesn't make any difference. Look, everyone, it's easier to find better paid work anywhere around the world with a degree. I'm not going to beat around the bush on that, but definitely having a degree is not something that is compulsory to teach TEFL. I know plenty of people that teach around the world without degrees. Chris, you probably within the forces had to train people. You've been trained a lot yourself. You've probably spent time with people whose first language isn't English. All that kind of thing is very beneficial and would help you on your TEFL CV. Okay, Chris, I hope that's answered your question. Good luck with that. I'm trying to rattle through them now. Christian, hello. Don't have many qualifications. Okay. How feasible is it to get work with just a TEFL qualification? Okay. Christian, I have never had any recruiter ask me to see my GCSEs or my A-level qualifications. Okay. So, all they tend to ask for is your degree. If you have a degree, it sounds like you don't, or they just ask for your TEFL qualification. So it's definitely possible to get work out there. Christian, be a bit open to the world. You know, don't have your heart set on Barcelona in Spain, Tokyo in Japan, Bangkok in Thailand, looking around the world, Moscow in Russia. Don't look to the big cities where lots of people flock to. Be a bit more open, get to different parts that aren't the major capital cities. Capital cities, you'll find work, Christian. You will. There's lots of pairs. Sophie McConnell. Lots of couples just seem to have had enough of the world and just want to go teaching abroad. Why not? Very easy. I've answered this already, Sophie. I would say it's probably a benefit. When I was recruiting teachers, I quite liked having couples. I found them to be a lot more stable than a single 20-something bloke or lady. Good. Yes, there is. Someone has just asked about the age limit on the working holiday visa. Yes. Hello, Chris. There is a age limit, and I think it is 30, 35. I think it depends what country you're coming from for the working holiday visa. But yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't get a working visa. But I think if you don't have a degree, the working holiday visa is one way of getting into Japan. There are other countries in the world, okay? But you know, there is the working holiday visa. Yes, I think it could be 30 or 35. Okay. Richard, hello. What is the best way to renew the working visa when the contract ends and maybe moving to another company? Okay, so I'll talk about my own experience. I was working for Westgate, and then I went and worked for the British Council. The British Council sorted out my work. So the Westgate sorted out my working visa in the UK before I flew there. The British Council, once I was in Tokyo, they then renewed it when I was already out there. So the best way is to go and find a bit of work for another company. So I went and worked 10 hours a week with the British Council, contact hours, but then I had like 3 other companies that I worked for, and the British Council sponsored that visa. The rest of, and then that was fine. So you find yourself a company out there that will sponsor your visa. I think there are ways of doing it yourself, with a bit of cash behind you, so you could just go in and just do a working visa yourself. But I think you need to have pretty good Japanese, or at least someone that's willing to come with you and translate all that kind of thing. Okay. Good. Yes. Hope you, Mandy. Hello. You're English, but in your 50s. Is age a barrier to getting a job in Japan? We just spoke about that a minute ago, Mandy. No, it's not a barrier. It's definitely something you can do, but I think the maximum is 60. So, you know, it depends. I don't know. Is a school going to take you on when you're 58? Because they're worried that when you get to 60, you might not be able to stay with them. So I would hurry up with a bit of that. Okay. If you've got, but you could definitely get a working visa on that. Okay, good. Right, Claudia, hello. I keep being rejected by Asian companies, both online and abroad, without even getting to interviews. Okay, I'm not sure why. If because I'm not a native speaker or something else. Okay. Right, so Claudia, there could be a few reasons that you're not being, you know. Have you got experience? Are you sure you're fitting the job profile that they want? Claudia, I know people that have got work in similar situations like you do. Okay, maybe Claudia, send in a message to the Facebook page. They'll pass it on to me, and I'll see if I can help you. Okay, because I don't want you to be demotivated. There's definitely work out there for you. Okay, Brody, hello. You want to apply for spring next year at Westgate? Well done, but it asks for proof of degree TEFL course. My degree in TEFL course won't be finished for another year. Right, so wait there though, but you want to start in spring 2021, but your degree isn't going to be finished for another year. Yeah, I don't think they're going to take you, Brody, until you've actually finished it and have that piece of paper. Yeah, I think, unless I've got the timings wrong, spring 2021, but you're not going to finish your degree until, yeah, I don't think you're going to get much work in Japan with that. You might get work, I don't know where you are in the world, Brody, you might get work in Europe, or something like that, but I think Japan you'll struggle until you've got that piece of paper. Okay, good. Zachary, did I answer your question before about the GCSE? Was that, I think, and I think I helped you out with that one. I think I did. Good. I've just lost the questions. Where are we at? Brody, I just did yours. Zachary. Ramona, hello. What is the standard of the teaching material and preparing for lessons? Any good resources you would recommend? Now, are you talking about in Japan, Ramona, or are you talking about generally the standard, right? There's not a perfect textbook out there. The perfect English language textbook has not been written, and people have been trying for donkey's years to do that. Okay. So what you might find is that the present continuous is done best in this book. The past continuous is done better in that book. And you might have to flick a bit between them. Good resources I would recommend totally depends on what the type of English you're teaching. Are you teaching kids? The British Council website is not bad for teaching kids. If you're looking for a website, if you're teaching adults, something like One Stop English is pretty good. It really does depend on the type. If you're teaching ESOL, then there's the English Nexus website. So I don't really know, Ramona. I need a bit more information. There's not a perfect one out there. And sometimes the best way to do it is just find a textbook and stick to that one textbook just for a bit of continuity when you first start. Okay. As you get more experience, you will find you know what textbooks are good and which ones are not. Sophia, hello. Do most places only require 120-hour TEFL? Is a level 5 sometimes asked for? A level 5 is, yes, sometimes asked for. That is something that you've seen, but the majority, should we go for 90%, Alan? I'm not quite sure, but the big chunk of jobs are happy for you to just have 120 hour, but you will see jobs that want 160 hour. If you're on the fence about whether to go for it or not, and if you've got the time and if you've got the money, go for it. It can only help you to get work. Okay. Megan, I think we've answered that one already. The statement of purpose. Okay, right. I know what the statement of purpose is. I'll come up. I'll see if I've got time at the end. I'm just going to go for that. We've only got about 10 minutes left. Ed. Yes, Ed Riney or Rini. Hello. Thanks for the info. Need to do a 120-hour TEFL course. Have a degree already. Congratulations. Do you have recommendation for the TEFL course? Are they all the same? Right. I tutor on hour one, this page is one, which is 128 or 168 hour course. I think it's really good. And the reason why I think I can prove it's really good is because it's accredited. Why is that important? Because companies around the world, recruiters around the world are looking for courses that have been accredited, as in they have been checked by a different body to make sure that the courses are good. For example, the people that accredit our course, they also check things like my qualifications and my teaching experience. They come and watch me do the weekend courses sometimes to make sure that I am teaching to a good level and that I'm not just sitting around having a little chat, basically, that you're actually learning. They are not all the same. You will see very, very cheap 120-hour courses out there. If you get one of those, they might not be accepted, might not be accepted by the people that you apply for, and you've wasted a bit of your time. Check accreditation levels. Make sure that it's a good quality one. Look on the reviews, Trustpilot, all that kind of thing. See if it can help you. Okay, good. Hope that's helped you. I'm going to group these ones together. Linda is talking about facial piercings, and Danielle is talking about tattoos. Interesting. Right, tattoos can be a big issue in Japan. It's really, really taboo, really, to have a tattoo in a lot of parts of Japan. There are exceptions to that, and I do think it's changing. From people that I know who have tattoos, who live out there, they do think it's changing. You have to cover them. Okay, I pretty much, yeah. I don't know anybody that has had a tattoo on view and managed to get work in Japan. So if it's on your arm, cover it. You might not be able to go in things like swimming pools. As soon as they see you with a tattoo, they'll ask you to leave. You probably won't be able to go in onsens, the lovely hot spring baths. They're amazing. I love them. You won't be able to go in those with tattoos. So it can be an issue. Facial piercings, again, yes, they can be a problem, Leander. Okay, there is, rightly or wrongly, depending on your point of view, there are companies that won't like you teaching their staff with this kind of thing. Okay, if it's pretty noticeable, yeah, it might be a problem, and I would be upfront about that. Leander, I'm sorry, I don't know how a better way to say that. Okay, good. Then I hope that's answered your questions. Sophie, that's a nice one. I found a lot of job schemes in Japan require you to live in single occupancy accommodation and don't let you find your own accommodation. Yeah, that's well. Oh no, you were the person talking about the couple. Well, okay. Well, I think that I've taught and lived with couples, not in the same. They've had a flat, and then I've been inside of that. Westgate, for a fact, definitely let people do that. The fact that they don't let you find accommodation is true. Yes, they like you to work at your own. They like you to work. They like you to live in your own accommodation. Okay, so yes, that is something, but definitely people do that. Okay, good. Adam, any chance of teaching medical English in Japan? It's not something I've come across. You don't find many Japanese doctors wanting to move. And I've worked with the NHS in the UK. We don't get many applications from Japanese doctors wanting to come to the UK. It's not something that there's a lot of work for. Medical English, probably places like India, South Asia, Europe. Dean, it says I've missed your question. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Alan, if you see Dean Lewis's question above, can you put it up for me? That would be a big help. Luke, you don't have a bachelor's degree. What do you think your chances are? Good. Lots of information about on our website about teacher without a degree, especially if you get the working holiday visa in Japan, that will help you. Okay. Ian, just completed 120 hour TEFL course. Will I find jobs? Will I have to prepare all the lessons from scratch? Or is there usually structure in place? Very good question, and is an important question as well. Ian, most jobs, they will help you they will give you textbooks for you to teach from. They will have all the materials. I've never, ever, when I've gone and worked for a company, I was just thinking about that. I've never, ever worked somewhere where they haven't given me materials. Okay. That doesn't mean you don't have to adapt them and find external things yourself, because all good teachers do that. But I've never worked anywhere where they've not any materials there ready to go. Okay. Martina, if the students do not speak English and the teacher does not speak the language of her students, how can the communication between them be successful? Martina, do your 120-hour course. It tells you all about that there. There was lots of there's lots of ways around it. Okay, I have never spoken fluently the language of any of the countries that I've worked in. Okay. Rebecca, hello. Rebecca Spencer Ashton, did you find any difficulty trying to communicate when perhaps visiting the doctor in Japan? I'm sorry, I never visited a doctor in Japan. I was lucky. I want to teach English there, but will most absolutely need to visit the doctors for checkups and the like. Right, you will get English speaking doctors in Tokyo. Okay, might cost you a bit more. I would also think that you're probably the people that you work with will be able to help you with that. Or even just you said, right, hi Kiyomi, tomorrow I'm going to the doctors. Would it be okay if I phone you at this time for you to translate for me? Something like that. And then Kiyomi, I could just remember someone very helpful called Kiyomi who I work with in Japan. Might come with you. Okay, but there are definitely English speaking doctors out there. Okay. Katie, did you find it? I'm going to just go for about another 5 minutes. Catching up with the questions though. Did you find it easier teaching children or adults? Katie, totally depends on you and how you feel. I have enjoyed teaching children. I have enjoyed teaching adults. I would say it depends on your class. Give me a class of lovely children over a class of horrible adults anytime. Vice versa, give me a class of lovely adults over a class of horrible children anytime. Okay, good. I hope that. Dean, are you immediately dismissed if you have a minor criminal record? As in dismissed as in if you won't get the job? It can be an issue, Dean. Yeah, some places do not like you having a criminal record and you can't get a visa for it. Something you need to Google yourself. I'm not an expert on that, Dean. I'm sorry. Catherine, what is the best way to stand out, strengthen a JET application? I think the best way to do it is to sort of show your understanding of Japanese culture, from what I've heard. And somebody did ask earlier about the statement of purpose. So that kind of thing is you're looking for, you know, be able to link what you have very closely to the application. From someone who's looked at lots and lots of teacher applications, the number one thing that I look at is, have they answered the question correctly? Okay, that's what I would do. Okay, good. Where am I at now? Millicent again. Yes, it will be reviewed. We will show this one again. Yes. Megan, any interview advice for VOLP interviews? Basically just personality, I think, is quite important in interviews, to be able to show that you're quite open and you're quite friendly. That's my first thing that I look for in interviews, because then if someone does make a mistake, you're likely to feel a lot more open. Okay, you're not much more likely to take someone on if they are happy and friendly and smiley. Okay, just be yourself. I think with all interviews, and just don't be afraid sometimes to say, look, I don't have much experience in this, but I would think it is this. Okay, go like that. Donna, hello. Many countries insist that applicants are from English-speaking countries. You're from Trinidad and Tobago. Please advise. I don't know. I've never had a student from Trinidad, Tobago, or wannabe teacher, Donna. I mean, you could probably teach online. That's the first thing I would say, Donna, if you're looking into TEFL. To go teach abroad, I don't know about Trinidad and Tobago. I would be completely making up. Send a message to the page. They might be able to help you about that. Okay, then there's some lovely spam going through. No? Oh, we're still going. Okay, that's good. Claudia, where can you contact me? If you send a message to the Facebook page, they might be able to pass on any message that you have. Okay. Dress codes. Let's quickly just deal with that one and then we're done, I think. Megan, any advice on dress codes? I've been told Japan dresses more conservatively than the UK. Yes, they do. They especially for teaching jobs, they do expect the men to wear a shirt and tie. They expect ladies to be a little bit more covered up. To go into an office, basically, a lot of the work you do, you're going into offices, so they would expect you to wear sort of business attire, really. Outside of that, I'm not so sure they do dress more conservatively than the UK. When you go out clubbing in central Tokyo, you see some very flamboyant dressing. Yes, Nilafor schools generally do provide accommodation for teachers in Japan if you're living abroad and then you're moving there. Okay. Good. Okay. Catherine, what is the best way to stand out straight? We've done that one. There you go. I think that's all the questions answered. I hope you've all enjoyed that. I don't know if I feel like I've whizzed through a lot of them, but I really hope you have enjoyed that one. If you have any more questions, please message us on the chat, okay, in the Facebook message, that kind of thing. We can help you out, put you in touch with that kind of thing. I really hope that I've helped you. I felt like some of the questions I rushed through, but I hope I got through all of them. But I tried my best. I'm going to be here, maybe back next week. I don't know if Alan will have me back, but if not, it'll probably be the week after. Any sort of tough questions? I'm sorry I couldn't tell you a bit more about my experiences in Japan. But we do have some blog posts about people's experiences in Japan on there. Okay. So I think that's something that's worth reading. Okay. There's lots of information about teaching in Japan on the internet. So much. Okay. If you are on the fence about going to Japan because you think it's too expensive, don't worry about that. Get yourself out there, and believe me, it's not as expensive as you think it is. If you're worried about the language, don't worry about it. Go out there. You will get by on the whole without any language experience. Okay. If you're worried about your tattoos, that kind of thing, Google it. Make sure, can you cover it up? All that kind of thing. Japan was the best 15 months of my teaching life that I had. Okay. It was unfortunately cut short by a massive earthquake and the Fukushima nuclear reactor thing that went on. Because of that, unfortunately, the work I had at that time died, so I left Japan. but it is the one place that me and my wife, who also lived in Japan, think about going back to all the time. Okay, Japan, if you're on the fence, just do it. Japan is amazing. The best food I've ever had in my life ever, but not great for vegetarians, but the best food I've ever had in my life ever out there. Okay, thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy your weekend. Cheers. Bye bye.